For over 20 years, the Channel 3 I-Team has been working for you, digging deeper and asking the tough questions. The I-Team, exclusively on Channel 3. And as we get set for the championship match of the BuddiesProShop.com Open, so much has been talked about by myself and Don Harger during the semifinals about the lane conditions. Don decided to go to yet another expert, Chris Foray, and talk about the conditions the lanes are for this event.
Thank you, Mark. We're standing here with Chris Foray, president of BuddiesProShop.com. And Chris, I noticed today the shot, unlike most of the time, is way outside, towards the gutter. What kind of shot is out there today to dictate that people have to go out there?
Well, today the pattern was 32 feet in length, Don, which is very short compared to your normal house shot. Generally speaking, the house pattern is 37 feet to about 42 feet, high volume in the middle of the lane with friction on the outside. By making the pattern shorter and flatter, it was a sport pattern. You force the bowlers to play the outside part of the lane because there's no hold in the middle. They're also going to have to use balls that roll more, have less transition in the back, and they'll have to use some weaker layouts. Also, you go with a weaker hand position. You'll see the bowlers also stay behind the ball more, keep producing a more forward roll, which helps slow down the transition off the back ends.
Chris, what type of players have an advantage on this kind of shot where you have to go to the extreme outside?
Well, generally with the shorter pattern, the player that plays straighter with a lower rev rate will have a bigger advantage over the power player. The power players generally will always struggle because their A game is to just stand left, open the lane up. In this case, they have to try and move to the right just like the straight player does. And it's very hard for a guy with a lot of power to reduce his rev rate and stay out there. And if they do want to play out there and they want to keep their rev rate up, they're going to have to go with plastic balls or a urethane ball, more old school. But now you're losing the hitting power of a reactive ball. So they're at a disadvantage. They can do it, but the chances of winning generally go down.
So thanks, Chris. Chris Foray, BuddiesProShop.com, one of the greatest minds in bowling around. So we heard it here from Chris. A lot of great information, especially on this particular shot. Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Don.
Back to you, Mark.
And welcome back. As we get set now, you are getting ready for the championship match of the BuddiesProShop.com Open here at Nutmeg Bowl in Fairfield. The final match of this weekend event. 148 started, and we have two remaining. Amanda Beck, the top seed in the tournament, against the student from Rowan University, Eric Cornog. And Eric will be rolling first, Amanda's choice. You like that strategy, Don?
You know, it depends. If your opponent starts, he starts on the left lane. It depends where you want to finish. I think Amanda wants to finish on the left-hand side. I don't think she cares about who goes first. She wants to finish on the left.
Well, she struck 3 times in the 10th frame in the semifinals, and that was certainly advantageous as Cornog gets it going with a strike.
Another great shot to open the match for Eric.
He gets off to a good start. He's had to wait through. He watched that second semifinal. You think he picked up some advice, some hints on Amanda's game? She shows another strike.
That ball hit so hard, there was a pin on lane 53 that fell down.
I see that. They'll have to make that adjustment unless they give her credit right away.
Do you get 11 on one shot? I don't know.
Or she only has to knock over 9 in the next one. But she starts with a strike, and she has been, as you talked about, she has been so steady, so consistent, and fairly dominant throughout this weekend.
You see, at this level, in order to be very good, the repetitive motions, the repetitive shots, you have to be robotic. And these bowlers all are. This is a tough shot. I saw a lot of people leave this tournament scratching their heads, wondering why they didn't bowl better. These guys have mastered this particular shot today.
Here's the second frame for Amanda. And she went down and got it. 2 straight to start the championship for Amanda Beck.
Getting off on the right foot is the most important thing. You know, that piece with Chris Foray, BuddiesProShop.com, it's more of the science of bowling. And if you have a moment to come in to either here or your local pro shop, you could really learn a lot about the science of bowling.
Amanda. The science there, pretty compact and smooth. All right, here's Eric Cornog, who struck to open this match. It's too straight for him, and the power right there, and he's got the hook going.
Yeah, so Eric definitely throws the ball a little bit harder, and he's got more revs than Amanda. So he just has to be perfect with his timing. And if he is, the ball's going to go down the trajectory on the right path, and then you just hope for your carry. But again, solid at the foul line, definitely not off balance, and he gets the ball reaction that he wants.
And the hook is fairly pronounced.
It definitely is there, and as long as your speed is the same and your timing is the same, you'll get pretty much the same reaction. But if he speeds up a little bit or takes a little speed off, you might see kind of an ugly reaction.
A turkey to start the championship match for Eric Cornog.
He's perfect through 3, and I think he saw Amanda in the last match. I don't think he wants to give her any kind of an opening.
Look at it again, and his form and roll the same for both lanes?
Yeah, actually he's using the same ball, and he's got the same line on each lane. He's getting that reaction that's predictable for him.
Here's Amanda Beck in the 3rd frame. And the late action only wobbles the 7.
Did you hear the pop of
I
the finger
did.
again? Again, I think her thumb stuck a little bit, and it actually threw the ball right off her thumb as opposed to going straight down the lane. When that happens, the ball, when it makes a move to the left, it makes a sharp move and then it stops. And she didn't get the power on the ball to knock out the 7-pin.
She uses a different ball to collect the 7 and the spare. 49 through 2.
I also want to mention, I don't know if we're going to get a camera shot on him, but there's a gentleman here. His name is George Chikar. Over the last 20, he's right over Amanda's shoulder in the blue,
Her left
sitting at
shoulder.
the table. Yep.
Yes.
In 20 years, he has made every single NEBA final except for 3. So I'm gonna say he's the NEBA biggest fan.
And now Amanda Beck.
There he is.
There's a shot of George. And what is he thinking now after Amanda, for the 2nd straight frame, comes up a little bit short on her first ball?
You know, he told me he just loves to come out and watch the competitive nature of everybody and watch the high scores. He's a big fan of bowling.
And another spare for Amanda Beck. So the opening for Eric Cornog, I think, is there.
You're absolutely right. Eric's definitely want to put a lot of pressure on Amanda right here. Just has to kind of stay within himself. You can't get too anxious.
As we saw Beck in the semifinal, but she was able to rally. Of course,
So
if you got, as you've mentioned, if you're going to have the spares or the open frame, dare I say, you want it early.
yeah, exactly. He's taking a little extra time here. Make sure you breathe.
Oh, the 10, everything went around it.
That's just a bad break. He made a great shot. A little unlucky right there.
Amanda Beck, you can see her back. She's not even watching.
Well, you know, sometimes your opponent doesn't want to watch you because if you get a lucky break, it feels like, oh, geez, you know, the world's crashing in. So,
And that was just an unlucky break.
yeah, it was.
So Cornog needing to pick up the 10 for a spare. All right, so he and Beck, well, he's a little bit ahead because he had the 3 strikes to start and Beck had 2, and then the spare in the 3rd and 4th.
You know, here we are in the final match. It's all or nothing right here, right? And you want to start off really good. You want to make sure your 9th and 10th frames are very strong as well. You tend to maybe fall asleep a little bit in the middle of the match. You definitely want to stay aggressive, and you want to continue doing the things that got you here.
Through 3 frames, Cornog 79-67, the 12-pin advantage. Oh, and a 3-pin split.
So that is the 2-8-10. When that happens, you didn't catch it at the bottom. Your timing was a little bit off, or you just kind of backed off on the release. He wasn't aggressive enough.
It looked like it hit the pocket fine.
It was just a little bit weak.
And 2 out of the 3 go down the open frame in the 5th for Eric Cornog.
So the door pushes wide open for Amanda right here. If you remember in the match when she had with Bill, when she had that opportunity, she got up really quickly and she made the shot. Same lane, actually. We could see her taking a little bit more time. I think she learned her lesson from last time. You can't get too anxious.
She was also a little ahead in that match and really wanted, as I said, to really kind of step on Bill's throat and didn't come through. Now she's trailing a little bit. She got the strike she was looking for in the 5th frame.
You know, her game, she doesn't have the length and the height that Eric has. So she has to stay very low at the foul line and kind of push the ball down very far. She gets the ball down about 45 feet before it even starts to think about coming back to the left. That's where all the energy is saved on the ball. That was a great shot right there. She's going to try to repeat it on lane 53.
She cut the lead to 9 through 5, and now the 10-pin won't fall for her, won't cooperate.
I can't even say anything bad about that ball. It's not like the ball finished behind the head pin, and there was a reason for the 10-pin. Here she is lined up, nice and solid. Puts the ball right over her mark, stays low. The ball just doesn't carry 10, it carries 9.
So through 5, Amanda with a 2-pin lead, and the open frame not as damaging to the chances of Cornog as we first thought.
Right, but that's because Amanda wasn't able to, flurry with a bunch of strikes.
Cornog now working off that open frame, and he got some help to avoid a deadly split.
That got left right out of his hand, and it actually was slow too. He actually is looking maybe at the first arrow and trying to push the ball down the lane as far as he can right there. This ball got left to target, and again, that's where Billy missed his spare. It hooks instantly when you miss your target left. He was able to get lucky and leave a 4-pin right there.
Cornog needs this. He's trying to get back into that groove.
So as I mentioned in the break, I think Eric's adjustment right here is going to have to be throw harder. Make sure you don't have to move with your feet or your target or anything. You just have to throw the ball harder to get it through those first 15 feet of the lane, and he definitely has enough hand to bring it back.
22-year-old student at Rowan University. First ever NEBA match or tournament. 2011 New Jersey State Masters runner-up. He's been in some pressure situations before. Oh, he liked that one.
That's called the walk away. You like to see it from a different angle. Let me move over here. Great shot.
He definitely was looking to get back into a groove, and after the spare, follows it up with a strike.
So again, that ball finally gets out to maybe the 4th, 3rd board. That's where it has to be. Now, if he has to move to the left to get it there, that's not the advantageous line. So you're going to want to make sure you throw the ball harder and harder to be able to stay right there.
Now Beck in the 7th frame. Ah, she got a little nudge to get that 8 to go.
That's a huge break right there. You can tell Amanda's not loving her ball reaction. She's just trying to kind of fight and keep the ball in the pocket.
She takes that 2-pin advantage right back with that strike. And a nice job of getting back into a groove for both bowlers who struggled in the 3rd and 4th frames. Beck now here in the 8th. Much more confidence in that roll, I thought.
That was an absolute perfect shot. And you heard a little bit. Right when she let it go, she's telling the ball to get up, make sure it hits hard. She knew she threw it great.
And that's the lane 53, where she struck out in the 10th to win by a pin in the semifinal.
In the 49-year history of NEBA bowling, there's only been 2 women's champions, Jen Swanson and Becky Craigling. And Jen is the only person who won a singles championship, so Amanda is right there knocking on the door.
But Eric Cornog says, hold on, I got a little bowling left in me, and he finishes this one strong.
A great shot right there.
Got it out there where you wanted it, huh?
Yeah, picked up his speed a little bit too. Perfect reaction.
Cornog down 2 pins with play here in the 9th frame. What a match.
Great match. There's actually only 2 pins separating these 2 players.
And now a difficult situation.
Got a little fast with his feet, I think, and just pushed the ball down the lane a little too far. Leaves the 2, 4, 8 relatively easy spare, but on this condition, it's not that easy.
You can't see because he got in the way, but looked like it hit the pocket, but you think he got a little
just a little fast
quick
with his feet. Yeah, the timing got off.
And he finishes it off in the 9th frame. So a frame ahead, it is Cornog with a 25-pin lead, but again, he's a frame ahead, and here's Amanda Beck now with her 9th frame, working on a double.
So if she strikes here, she's going to be up a nice little bit going into the 10th frame.
Asking for help, it didn't get up as she wanted, and the 10 remains.
The bad break on that one, when you leave a 10 pin or a single pin after 2 strikes, it counts 21 pins off your score. That's a killer.
But she's retaken the lead through 8 by 2 pins. And she'll finish off the 10 pin in the 9th frame. She's a little disgusted with herself as she goes over to a familiar spot on lane 53, the 10th frame.
So if you're a fan of bowling like we all are, 4 pins separating these 2 from their first championship, and it's coming down to the 10th frame.
That's a good point. We're going to have a first-time winner on the NEBA Tour. Talking to it, the ball listened.
That's pretty impressive right there. It takes a lot of guts.
To talk to the ball?
Well, no, to yell at the ball like that. Look at this shot. You couldn't have put it up there any better if you walked up 60 feet and placed it there.
Well, that puts her up. Again, she's ahead by 24 pins.
This is huge right here.
Asking again, but again, that 10 refuses to listen.
This hit right here would have pretty much all but sealed the match. That 10 pin right there left the door open for Eric. If he can strike out, he has it.
And she knows it. Wrapping things up at 2:16 is Amanda Beck, and now she awaits. And what does Eric Cornog need to do?
Well, if he strikes out, he has 222, so he definitely needs the first 2 strikes right here.
The 22-year-old from Rowan University in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. That's 1 of 2.
He gets the swish and strike right there. Very nice. You know you threw a great ball when you hit a little bit light, half pocket, and you dance the pins around like that. That was a great shot. Needs this strike right here to win.
To have a shot at winning.
Okay.
Right? Because then he would need
just a few pins.
He would need 5 to win. He's down 14.
Exactly.
With two rolls remaining.
I wouldn't mind being in that spot, needing 5. Throw a dart right at the head pin.
The 9 wouldn't drop.
Stone 9-pin. Amanda Beck wins her first NEBA title, and Eric is shocked. He loved the shot.
He is. They're both shocked, but the expression on their faces completely different.
Wow.
And that is unfortunate for Eric Cornog, knowing that it was on his roll.
That's like being 3 steps away from winning the foot race and then having a sniper shoot you right at the tape.
And congratulations and big hugs. Great final championship match, Don Harger. And the champion is Amanda Beck, 216 to 212. Just a wonderful effort by both competitors.
What a treat. CPTV Sports bringing you the best of bowling in all of New England. If you're a bowling fan, you gotta love that.
It was a tremendous match, and both bowlers should be congratulated on entertaining the crowd here at Nutmeg Bowl. It was a tremendous championship match, and I tell you what, we have a deserving winner. And we are going to talk with that winner, Amanda Beck, in just a moment. She is the champion of the BuddiesProShop.com Open. And when we come back, we'll chat with the winner, Amanda Beck. You're watching the NEBA here on CPTV Sports.